91. Okay, block party number 91 continued. James, you were laying out a really good synopsis. Please carry on.
Yeah, I'm just saying like that if we could get each of them to agree to, they'd know, as we said, we did know what the overall reason for the meeting is basically anyway, and we'd start off with Guy first, giving an overall picture of what Habitat is about and it's what it depends on, and then secondly, we give Professor Wadhams, and he gives an overall picture on the Arctic and the situation with the Arctic at the moment, because he's the primary, foremost the leader on it, in the thought of it anyway. Third would be Professor Jim Massa, who would then give an overall talk on oceans and what the effects of the melting Arctic will do to the oceans. Fourth would be Paul Beckwith, who'd give an overall picture of the global effects of that. Fifth would be John Doyle, giving an overall picture of both global hot bulb temperatures and the minor things we should be thinking, and not the things that questions we need to be asking ourselves about society and community. Sixth would be Professor Yetow then would come in and say like that we have the Mirror Reflection program, and seven would be Peter Salter coming in saying we also have the MCB program, and eight then would be Kevin Hester giving an overall picture on the state of the Barrier Reef, because he just gave out information in that video stating that even though we're in a La Nina at the moment, they're expecting the Great Barrier Reef to have a massive bleaching this summer, and they're already in their early summer now, so they reckon by the end of their summer this year that they're going to lose half the Great Barrier Reef, and we're in an El Nina, we're in a La Nina, not an El Nino, so like that's just a signal, as well as the Arctic, how bad the situation is. Jim Massa also gives a situation on the release of the methane in the Arctic, in the Siberian Arctic as well. They're just puncturing holes in the ice now, and it's coming out under pressure like gas, just hissing out through the ground. So things are starting to liven up, and we need to really liven up to get ahead of it. So also then you have Professor Rupert Reid then will give an overall picture on what he considered the failing of COP26 and politicians in itself and the fossil fuel industries, and that the industries in capitalism is no longer the way to go. We need to get to communities standard cooperation, because that's where we're all going to be leveled to very shortly. If we don't get our act together, it's only going to come down to what communities can do for each other, because we'll already have lost the capability of doing something global. But if we actually act on what these professionals are telling us the situation is, and the two viable solutions that are non-evasive and controllable and affordable, you know what I mean? They might buy us the time to act on all the other problems that we need to deal with, you know what I mean? To keep the system going as best we can, or try to reverse the damage we've done. But we have to do something, because the alternative, as these people are saying in their videos, and they're the professionals, and they're the only ones willing now to speak out in public and tell us, we have only literally within a decade to survive. Not to do something about it, to survive. So if we're lucky, if we're really lucky, with 10 years is what they're saying. So it's act or do. It's do something. No, pull your heads out of the sand and do something, or we're all facing the same, fate, so to speak. So I believe that if we can get them in, tell them that the idea of the meeting really, first and foremost, is to lay down the cards on the table for people to be honest, or to be honestly see what's before them, so that they have the right to choose as well, the correct path for themselves, and for their families and for their communities. Because, I mean, ultimately, as John Doyle did say in the other meeting, this is going to come down to community cooperation for the good of all. And secondly, the idea of the meeting is in the spirit of cooperation then, that we're going to hear about and discuss those sensible ideas like Mirror Reflection and MCB, and that we're going to have to dispel the other the other fears of different types of geoengineering. Yes, we can point out that there are those types of geoengineering, but people, for their own common sense, will see that these two are the most viable and least invasive. Like, but the point is that we need these people to come along, give us put the cards on the table, tell us where we stand, and tell us, yes, we have this option, our only option, but we need motivation behind it now. And with their own followings on their own websites alone, once they share them on their own, their own YouTube channels and everything else, I think we can gather a lot of momentum as well then from MCB and Mirror Reflection, like, as well as Food Healers and everything else, and Collective Intelligence. But I do think that people just need to, unfortunately, at this stage, and I don't like to be the one to say it, like, but people need to get a kick in the arse now, like, because we gotta wake up, people. I mean, the film Don't Look Up wasn't there for a reason, and we gotta, we have to look up now, like, pull our heads out of the sand and don't look away. We have to face what's coming, like, and we have to do something about it. Or, sorry, we're all going down the tube together. Sorry enough for being so depressing, but that's just the way the situation is. We're gonna all have to ask ourselves some serious questions, like, are we really that stupid a species that we couldn't cooperate in order to save ourselves? Passing the feather.